There's also some screens in Supermove that you can see. I have a screenshot here of the cost and compensation screen that will also show you, based on the employee costs, what your profit margin is on this job. So it's not necessarily fully loaded, but it is another really great place that you have transparency and you can see what the cost and compensation are per job, outside of like truck costs and things like that. Foster or Ryan, did you want to go in a little more detail here?
Yeah, definitely. And if it's all right, I can even share my screen and jump in a
Yeah,
little bit about what that
yeah.
looks like in
There
practice.
you go.
Thank you, Tracy. Awesome. Hey everyone. So yeah, I can go ahead and jump into Supermove to see what that looks like, on a living, breathing project. So the main two things I want to take away here, we're going to cover, how to use the cost and comp and as well as the billing sections on the Supermove project page to help you sort of start to craft and get a picture of what that looks like on that project or on that job level, right? Like Tracy said, it's the little pieces that sort of build up and add up. So with the example that I have here, we have our invoicing billing section where we go through, the fees that you might charge, the quote that you might give that customer. This is just kind of monopoly money I'm throwing here, some play numbers. So, obviously this is, it'll vary depending on your circumstance, but, let's say it's a $600 invoice or bill that we're working on. When we look a little bit further down on the job page, we start to look at some of the cost compensation. So in this case here, I have a few, movers assigned to the job, a driver, and I'm also double dipping as both the salesperson, moonlighting as well. So making some, some commission on that job as well. When we start to break that down, we start to see, we have the total revenue, right? What's the, the top line for that job, total costs, the profit, and the percent. So I'm at 27%, just above that threshold that Tracy was talking about, 25 to 45%. But when we start to drill into this, we start to paint a picture, right? So part of this exercise is really understanding what are those direct costs, what are those things that we need to be considering to turn a profit or to increase this profit here. So if I were to jump in, one of the things that might not be considered right away is, I think I saw it on the list as well of direct expenses, the fuel as a charge, right? So as an example, I might say, you know what, we need to consider that for this job. I'm going to pay about $100 in gas, right? I don't know. I'm up in Canada. Gas is pretty expensive. I don't know how crazy it is down there in the States, but let's assume, I need to include gas. Well, look at this. Suddenly that profit's dipping pretty bad, right? We're down to the 10%. So what this gives you though, is it starts to paint a picture so that you can quickly calculate, okay, what sort of levers should I be pulling to help increase that profit? Compensation adjustments might not be the path to go, but when we go back up to the revenue side of things, well, you know what, and this ties in really well to Tracy's point, bonus point number 6 is let's start increasing some of these fees, or at least start to understand, what that means. This general moving fee or administration fee, how does that tie into that, 450, 650K margin that we're looking for, right? So we might want to increase the pricing here. We might want to add, a fuel surcharge if we needed to. Just for, argument's sake, I'll add, $150 fuel surcharge here. And again, you can see in Supermove, the intent is to try to make this as easy as possible to update. And when we look at the numbers again, we're back at the 27. We can play with the rates. We can start increase some of these things here to bring this up to a healthier profit. But even here, you can start to experiment and quickly see where those opportunities are to increase the overall profit and the margins for, at this job level. And then the cool thing here is once you're satisfied with this, you can also create templates for this. So as you're creating new jobs, you already have those numbers, those rates already accounted for. So that's the first piece on how we can help paint a better picture, help you capture at that more micro level, the different expenses and the different potential opportunities from the revenue side. And then the other pieces, going back to that top dollar, how are we tracking this information in the macro? How do we make this easier for accounting teams? Some of the recent updates that we've been launching is the whole concept of this invoicing, right? So once you've invoiced the customer, and not only can you charge a credit card directly from Supermove, but you can also now export these invoices over to QuickBooks. So for those that have, QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Desktop now, you can export these invoices, start to track that revenue, plug that into the wonderful spreadsheets that Tracy's going to provide, and then help paint that full picture for you as to where you are. So again, part of the tooling that we have here to help round out that picture and ultimately help you increase your profits.